Hey guys, welcome back to my photography slash whatever channel. Um, I do post sort of random videos. Anyway, today I'm talking about cameras, and principally I'm talking about the Nikon new release, the Z6 and the Z7, why I'm not getting them, how disappointed I am, and yada yada yada. I think everybody sort of had high expectations about what they were going to be getting from Nikon, and I think that's sort of justifiable too, because Nikon put out lots of teasers and there was a lot of hype, and it took them a long time to release a mirrorless camera, really, when you consider that Sony's had them out for a long time, and the mirrorless market has obviously been gaining, massive following compared to DSLR, even though I do know that pros are sticking to their DSLRs, principally for the reasons of, the speed and also the accuracy of the autofocus and reliability, naturally. They just can't be risking losing shots to an inferior autofocus system. But now Sony's like, well, they're hot on the tail of DSLRs in general, and really I don't think that would be much of an argument not to get a Sony full-frame mirrorless camera anyway for professional work. Perhaps the reliability may be questionable, but even that, haven't heard any horror stories really about them breaking down in the middle of a shoot and things like that. So yeah, really there's no reason not to go with Sony for professional work now, apart from just the the stigma that they still hold. Now back to the Nikon and how disappointing it has been. Yeah, I was really hoping that they were going to be matching Sony at least. I didn't expect them to surpass the Sony, because the Sonys are so good, but I at least expected them to match the Sony, with things like battery life and autofocus principally. All the other things, like, of course they've got to have a good EVF and things like that, but the things that really matter principally these days is nailing autofocus. That's just so important. You have to have, there's just no excuse. I mean, like, when another system is offering the autofocus system such as Sony's, with the eye grab, okay, it's grabbing your eyeball and focusing on it and holding, it as it moves around, and continuous focus on an eyeball. It's pretty amazing. It's, it's where the technology is at now. And basically, if you don't offer that, I think you're going to find yourself in trouble, because a big part of what people use cameras professionally for is for people slash event sort of photography. Your wedding photographers makes up a big part of the professional photography brigade, and of course the wedding photographers also, and event photographers, there's also a lot of event, and then editorial, like news and things like that. Even that's reduced now. They're happy to get grabs by an iPhone or a phone camera. So it is, it's so disappointing that the Nikon, they just don't have it. They're not there, from what I can see anyway, with these pre-release. I've watched a lot of these pre-release spills, people talking about it. There's a lot of channels that are sort of backing it and sort of fluffing over it and making excuses for it. But at the end of the day, like, really, you'd have to be, I don't know why you would choose the Nikon system over the Sony system. Like, there is no reason why. Honestly, if you were starting out and you had to go and buy your gear right now, you'd be pretty silly to go and buy the Nikon, like, compared to the Sony. When the Sony has more accurate autofocus, it's got the glass now, plenty of glass. I know it's very expensive, but they've got the glass, and they're a complete system, and they're up and running, and it works well, and it's proven now. Whereas the Nikon, okay, it's entering the market. It doesn't appear that it's working as well as the Sony. It doesn't have features like eye autofocus. It's got crummy battery life of like 300, apparently. I mean, nobody's used it, but the battery life isn't great. And these are things that people have been criticizing the mirrorless sector for, like, since it began. They've been harping on about battery life and focusing. This has been the big issues and big stepping stones that are stopping the pros, people really jumping over to the mirrorless camp. And here is Nikon releasing their flagship camera when these features are available on another brand. It doesn't have it. They're not there. It's such a shame. The camera does look great. It looks like it's, fit for purpose. It looks the piece. It looks solid and well made and well constructed, etc. It's probably very familiar to use if you're used to the Nikon system, which I am. All those things are big pluses, but at the end of the day, if you're taking a shot and it's not sharp, it's not nailed in focus, it's not a keeper. You can't be handing over blurry shots to clients, can you? Like, you just can't. Who wants a blurry photo of a person? They don't. They do not want the shot missed. It's really inexcusable as a professional photographer. And yeah, it's a big problem. Anyway, that's my little rant on the Nikon. I'm really disappointed. I've been hanging on to my glass, even though I've been mainly using mirrorless lately. I've got Sony A7 and a few of their lenses. I've got Panasonic's. I've got a full system of Fuji, 2 bodies and multiple lenses, all of which are really good, but I wouldn't use any of the mirrorless gear for a professional gig. Even the Fuji X-T2. I might now, but I'm a little bit apprehensive. I feel much safer walking in there, even with my D800E, like, I know it's reliable, I know it's going to work, I know I'm going to get focus, I know everything about the system, and it's sturdy, and it's a solid camera, and it's going to work for me. Whereas mirrorless, I can do a series of shots with an X-T2, and it'll be missing focus, it'll be grabbing focus on the background will be in focus, the person I'm trying to get in focus will be missed. It just won't grab faces. It's just not there yet for a professional level sort of gig, which is a shame. Like, the quality is super good, the sharpness, all those sorts of aspects are great, but if you're missing focus and things like that, oh my god, it's just inexcusable. You just cannot have that happen. You can't be gambling on that. Okay, yeah, so that's it really for my little rant on the Nikon. Really disappointed. I know I've got all my Nikon lenses and flash gear, and oh man, I was just so looking forward to, I was just imagining like I'm gonna be selling off all my other gear and I'm just gonna be back to Nikon basics. I'm gonna have my couple of Nikon digital DSLR bodies and a couple of mirrorless cameras, which would have just been perfect. Sorry about the chainsaw running in the background, I don't know what's going on there. But it just would have worked out so well, and I probably would have kissed everything else goodbye quite happily, you know, because it's just so convenient to have everything with one system, isn't it? But now, you know, I'm sort of, I'm not gonna let my stuff go just yet. I'm gonna still hang on to all the gear that I just mentioned, because I'm just not 100% which way I want to go. If I wanted to stick with one system, they all seem to have their benefits for different things. Like, you know, the Panasonics are good at video, the Fujis are good at, they're more of a generalist sort of camera, but they don't sort of nail it anywhere, but they're good all round. So probably street photography, family shots, all that sort of stuff, and almost into professional realm, but not quite there. And then you got the Nikon gear, which is definitely, like, with your high-end DSLR bodies, they're definitely professional quality, reliable, super sturdy, ready to go, but they're big and they're heavy and they're not what you want to be carrying around. Well, I don't want to be carrying it around anyway. Hell, I've even got Canon gear, which is my all-time favorite for portraits, which I'll make another video about soon. Anyway, that's it. Just wanted to have that little rant, and hope you guys are having a good weekend, and I'll catch you later. Bye.